I'm so happy to be here. My name is Holger Schmidt. I'm working for Europe, the European Festival Association, and we celebrated our 20th anniversary yesterday. So it's 30 years of ILMC, 20 years of Europe, the European Festival Association, 10th year of GEI. Let's have a thank you very much to the Greener Festival guys, and give them a big hand for 10 years of very, very good work, great work, not only in the UK but in all over the world. And I'm happy. I think it's my 7th time here. I feel so welcome, and this is we always call it the Green Family. If we meet each other, and I'm so happy to be here, and I will be here again. And this family is something nobody can vote for separating. So we all will hopefully stay together in the next years, and decades, and centuries, of course. I'm working for an initiative called Take a Stand, and we announced this last year. Our friend Freshina from Lollapalooza Berlin was here announcing this, and I will present this to you a bit later on. Just want to introduce my panel here, starting here with Ollie Wilson. It's the Wilsons who are doing the good stuff. You work for 10,000 Hours, an initiative for voluntary work, but you will tell us more about this in a bit. There's Mikkel Zander. He's the sustainability manager of Roskilde Festival from Denmark, who received the first Take a Stand award, and this year at the European Festival Awards. And Roskilde is the sister of Glastonbury. So if we have the European grandparents of festivals, that might be Glastonbury and Roskilde, and you're something like the nephew or whatever, the grandchild. And there's Michal Kaščák from Pohoda Festival in Slovak, and he's working on building a reputation like the other two festivals. In 2 or 3 years, you will be on the same side, and I think so. And Pohoda Festival received the Green Operations Award at the European Festival Awards, so big hand to the two of them, which are very great guys and great festivals they are representing. Take a Stand is an initiative because we, like this, we thought it is time that we announce that there's, besides all the entertainment, more to a festival than just the entertainment. Many of you know, because we are for years are talking about sustainability and environmental issues, so we take a lot of care about things separate from the festivals. But in the recent social developments and happenings that take place in politics and society, we thought it is important to raise awareness for certain values that we like to stand for. And this grew out of Europe, the European Festival Association, and everybody's invited to join us in this initiative. Everybody can do that. You don't have to be a festival. If you have an agency or a promoting company, etc., etc., you can just join us. It is for free. Go to the website and sign up. I will show you a little clip in the beginning that shows what it is. This is what ran in the summer. course, stand for these values, and we probably think our audiences are aware of that, but I think we should always tell them more and take them by the hand. In the past year, we collected 87 festivals, promoters, clubs, and companies from 22 countries in Take a Stand. 14 associations, like a Greener Festival, for example. Here's probably a lot of logos, which are maybe too tiny at the moment for you to see, but there's the big festivals from all over Europe included there. Take a Stand lives from what the festivals do their own on the campaigning and on the communication side. This, for example, is at Open Air St. Gallen in Switzerland, where they took a group shot with the audience with the Take a Stand logos in the back. This is at the green area at Lollapalooza Berlin, where they involved the audience and making them think and talk about what they want to take a stand for. This is at Das Fest in Karlsruhe, where we took the artists and took action with them. This, for example, is at a conference at Nouvelle Prague in the Czech Republic, and this leads me to something that I'd like to do just before lunch with you. I brought the cards, and we'd like to give them out, and in the end, I will do a panoramic shot with you. If you like, it would be very much appreciating that. Plans for the next year is to reach 200 festivals, promoters, and companies joining, so you can it could help us making a big step there and get more people aware of this. That was just a quick one. Now, first one, I would like to give the microphone to Mikkel from Roskilde, who will tell us a bit about their equality program, about their motivation in doing things that are attached to Take a Stand.
So this was an example on how we work together with NGOs in engaging our audience. I think what's important to understand about Roskilde Festival is apart from being one of the biggest festivals in Europe, it's also a non-profit organization and has been non-profit from the beginning in the 70s. So over the years we have donated more than 50 million euro to charity, and every year all profits are donated to charity. And that also means that it would be weird if we, in one hand, made all these donations, but with the other hand, did not take any responsibility in the way that we produce our event. And we work a lot with environmental projects, and I'm not going to talk about that today because today is more about social change. But a lot of the sustainability work is also about the social part of sustainability. And the main thing that we are doing are these projects that you saw an example of here together with a group of NGOs. We have a 3-year theme about equality. First year was political equality. We had Edward Snowden talking on live screen from somewhere, probably Russia, I don't know. Last year was cultural equality, and this year we are talking about economic equality. And it's not that we are saying that Roskilde knows all the answers to this, because we don't, but we provide a platform for these NGOs that are more qualified than us to talk about this. So for example, you saw this human banner that we did with Action Aid Denmark last year. This year we're going to have Oxfam on site doing unfair Olympics, where participants are gonna compete with the world's richest 1% in doing different stuff to show the difference in the ability you have to do different stuff. We're gonna have Transparency International on site, who is gonna do different games about corruption in the world and also locally in Denmark. We're gonna have Chelsea Manning, the free speech activist, and also transgender activists speaking about activism in general. So we try to do different stuff that will engage our audience. It has to be participatory. It's not just a talk. It has to involve our participants somehow. And it's not only on the festival that we are doing stuff. We are also just starting up, for example, a pre-university boarding school where we will have 120 students living there doing 6-month courses, taking courses in activism, in communications, in event management. So we're trying to educate the future activists that we need for the change in society. So providing a platform, doing it participatory.
And thank you very much. This is I think it's the other one is louder, but it's no problem. Roskilde is doing so much, and thankfully you're so sharing so much too, which makes Roskilde special in another way also. How does it come that Roskilde is doing so much in this but because there are hundreds of bands playing there on a lot of stages during 10 days, but also your program, your food program, your sustainability program, and your political program and your agenda is so huge. What drives Roskilde to do this?
I think it really comes from the non-profit DNA, as we call it sometimes, because since we have been non-profit from the beginning, it's always been the core of our values that we work on as a festival. And of course, we're also privileged. We live in a quite free country in Denmark, so we can say stuff that you might not be able to say in other parts of the world, also in Europe. But it's also the main driver of the many hundreds of volunteers that work with the festival every year, that they want to do and induce a change to society. So it's really the whole foundation of why we go to work in the morning, and why the volunteers that are on the festival come with us.
Thank you very much. Next one will be Ollie from...
Hi.
10,000 hours
Yeah.
in the UK. It's very freshly in the UK.
That's right, 1 year.
Yeah, and but let us know, because the initiative itself is a bit older. But
That's right.
tell
Yeah,
us,
so
please.
10,000 Hours, we're a non-profit organisation. Our two main aims are supporting communities and the environment around festival sites, and also promoting volunteering to young people and connecting young people. We've been able to make a difference in the local communities. It began in 2011 in Amsterdam, and now I think we're at 58,000 hours, just over. So it's been a huge success in Holland and in some other countries across Europe. My background is as a promoter in electronic music, and on my adventures I bumped into the guys over in Amsterdam. I'm a huge fan of 10,000 Hours already, and off the back of the success over the last few years, they're opening up offices in new countries. So they said, "Do you want to help us over here?"
Is that clear? The aim is to collect hours of voluntary work.
That's right. Yeah.
So, and the aim once was, let's collect 10,000 hours of voluntary work.
Yeah.
And right now, you said you're
Just
almost
over
60,
58. Yeah, nearly
almost
60,000 hours. So
I have
we.
$1 million for you.
You have 1 million hours, yeah? Great. Can I borrow them, please? That's actually our goal, is 1 million hours by 2030 globally. That's another thing we can discuss in a moment, because I think that's interesting how we're going to achieve that. So we launched here in the UK last May. We did 3 projects last summer. We launched with We Are Festival, and we set up a kitchen feeding homeless people in East London with volunteers who... so you earn a ticket to the festival. You come and volunteer and spend a day with us. With volunteers from We Are Festival.
Your festival, the festival that you organize?
No, We Are Festival is a big electronic music festival out in Romford. The second one was with Parklife in Manchester, where we're based. We renovated a community centre. Parklife is in North Manchester. Some of those districts in North Manchester are the most deprived areas in Europe. And we found, it's dilapidated really, a community centre. It's been there for 40 years. It's a big thing in the local community, but it needed a bit of help and support. So we did a project with them. I've actually got some pictures you can see in a sec of that project. Do
you want to click them?
Sure. And then,
very right.
Well, you know, we'll see in a minute. I'll just talk for a minute. And then the third project we did was with Creamfields Festival over in Merseyside. Whenever we start working with a festival, we look at what the issues are in the local area, and there's always a wide range of things. In the Creamfields, around the Creamfields area, there's a lot of elderly people who are isolated. It's a semi-rural area on the fringes of Liverpool, so there's lots of old people, and they're all sat at home on their own. Loneliness and social isolation is a huge problem for older people in this country. And so we took over the local church hall. I'll show you some pictures now because these are cool pictures. There we are. So we took over the local church hall and we invited 60 pensioners, older people down from the local community. We had about 40 volunteers and we did a cream tea fields. And there we are. It was a great day. Entertainment, volunteers getting to... So whoever we're working with, whether it's homeless, whether it's kids, whether it's old people, pretty much the main point for me is always conversation. Food, drink, non-alcoholic, and music is a great way to bring people for just to get chatting and sharing experiences. One of the main things that I always think about is developing empathy, which you do by hearing other people's experiences and understanding their stories and getting to share yours with older people as well. Here's the one we did with Park Life. This is the community centre. We did them a new front of the place. We did the garden, and there's the crew there. So those were our first 3 projects last summer. We're kind of looking at doing, a lot more stuff this summer. Just developing an ecology project with Noisily Festival, which is a really cool 3,500 capacity electronic music festival in Leicestershire, in a big stately home with big grounds with ancient woodlands and stuff like that. So we're going to do a 2-day project where you can come and camp over and spend 2 days learning about and engaging in woodland management, ecology, and communing with nature. So the conversation doesn't have to be with a person, it can be with nature as well.
So if you say you cooperate with a festival on this, how do you do this cooperation? What does that mean?
So I go knocking on festivals' doors,
Yeah.
loads of them, and festivals that are interested in doing something with us, we'll sit down, we'll have a chat. What's going on in your area? For festivals in urban areas, it's homelessness, elderly, local communities. For festivals in more rural areas, it's nature, supporting wildlife and biodiversity. We'll find out what the festival want to do, and then I'll go away and get it together and organise a volunteer project.
And the volunteers working on these volunteer days, they come from the festival audience?
That's right, yeah. So the main thing that the festival kind of supports us with is social media and putting a call out to their audience to recruit volunteers. So
a festival is able to, not in their festival time, doing something for giving something back to society by attracting volunteers for volunteer work in their specific area.
That's right, yeah. So I mean, the great thing is festivals is such a build-up of energy and human heat, and maybe 100,000 people in a field, and all that energy is contained within the barrier fence, and it's a really nice way of taking that energy and putting it back into the local community and sharing it. Probably the main thing that I'm looking at doing at the moment is making our projects much more sustainable. So not just going in somewhere, doing something for a day and leaving, but making something that is going to have positive impacts all year round, not only for the people or the community or the environment that we're working with, but also for our volunteers as well.
I see. I know some people who work with sustainability and events. Probably.
I have a little video. Do you want to see a video about 10,000 hours? So we predominantly work with electronic music artists and DJs. Here's something we did in Amsterdam with Seth Troxler.
The thing that got me into charity, I think more than anything, was the fact that I grew up poor. Once you know that poverty doesn't come from the lack of effort, but comes from the lack of resource, you have a greater empathy for the world. We're on our way to help 10,000 hours and feed the homeless. Hello.
Shall I put you to work
Yeah,
right away?
100%, yeah. Let's do it.
How do you get this to lock?
So food is an obsession I've had from a very young age. The fact that there's so much food out there, you know, how much food is wasted, yet some people still can't eat. And I think it's something that everyone can connect with. And that's why I'm really happy that we're doing this together and we're gonna go help these people and give them not only nourishment, but joy and love through food. There's like a gazpacho, we got loads.
We all need to eat at one point. So to be able to help out and just make something to eat for somebody who needs it, it's magic. Perfect.
I hang out with you, that cool? Chili, a little chili, yeah? You like that? Ah. Ooh! Let's shake it up.
Kijk, je wordt niet zomaar dakloos. Weet je? Dit zijn ook gewoon mensen die om wat voor reden dan ook toch in een soort sociaal isolement zitten. Ik denk dat zeker de functie van zo'n dag, die ligt er niet om, weet je. Het brengt mensen echt gewoon bij elkaar en dat is gewoon hartstikke goed.
And a lot of people instantly have the idea that people that are homeless because they're drug addicts. When really that's not the case. There are so many people who have become homeless just due to traveling, lack of jobs in our current economy, and just life. Sometimes life takes you in a direction that, you know, not necessarily no one wants to end up on.
We've all been in that situation where shit hit the fan and you couldn't find a new apartment. We've all been very close to that. And homelessness is not like, it's not some weird medical condition. It's just people that are in an unfortunate situation. And I mean, we need to respect that.
The world, it's not good for everybody, but that doesn't make everybody not equal or not valuable. And the struggle is real, some a lot more than others. But you can take your time and give your time to help those, because they're just people trying to give a little love in this world.
Only believe dreams can come true. Just by believing.
Mikkel will be next. This reminds me of my visit to Roskilde that I did in 2014, and Mikkel sent me to a place they were then called Stop Spill of Mud, and now they're on the board, I think, that you are working with, and they collect like 30 tons
30
of
tons of surplus food and distribute to social and marginalized from the festival site.
Yeah, to refugee camps and homeless shelters, etc. And that was a very impressive action as well. And talking about homeless people, this is unfortunately a sad topic, but it's so good to see 3 people from the festival world caring about this. Tell us a bit about Pohoda and what you do besides your music program.
Hi, thank you. So I think that all this Take a Stand is fantastic campaign, by the way. And as for Pohoda, it's in our nature. It's in our blood. When I started, I was a very young musician, and we started during communist regime, so we know how it is to do music in not free society. That's why we do it very naturally, that we care. And also the co-founder of Pohoda was my friend from hardcore scene. We were part of alternative and underground scene, so it came very naturally to Pohoda. And what we do, we use the power of the festival. We are now the biggest festival in the country, and we use its power to speak about some, let's say, sensitive topics, sensitive mainly in countries which are not so developed as Western countries, as we are post-communist country. We are coming from post-communist country. And and we are opening some of them. We are very proactive or very active in sensitive topics connected to politics, to, for example, to new neo-Nazi movement in the country and to other things, but also what we started to do 4 years ago. This year it will be the 5th anniversary. Is the festival for people without home, and it's called Good at Home. It's a paradox, but it's because of one very popular song with this title. And we do it in the hall where they can sleep. In the country it's not so developed again, so the hall is outside the city, and it used to be a factory before, and some people changed it to low trash hall where they can come, or even if they are drunk or if they are under drugs, etc. There is a great team who are dealing with them, and we are changing that place for a venue for one night, for one afternoon, because they can be there till 7. Then we change it for the venue, and then in the night at 7 they can come back again. We put all beds out, we create club, we invite people from outside to come and to see how it is.
Bring in the music, let them play,
yeah,
break it down again, and then...
Yes, and we do it together with them, of course. They are involved, they can stay there, they are helping us with creating it, and all bands, of course, play for free, and it's very nice even because and again, mainly in our countries, there are many prejudices, of course, as maybe everywhere, but in ex-communist countries, even bigger.
You brought us some slides?
Yes, I brought some slides, but it's not connected to the thing we are speaking now about, because this Sunday we did, and I'm sorry that I haven't informed you, but it's all, it's very, I was doing it this morning in this hotel, because this Sunday we did, I think that it's one of the role of the festivals. If we want to keep the society free, and if you want to keep freedom, it's not something what we can lose it very easily. Yeah. So that's why we do all this. And I don't know if you heard it, but in Slovakia 1 week ago there was one journalist and his fiancée. They were killed, and we did event for them. We did concert for Jan and Martina. It's their names, and we did it on Main Square in Bratislava, in our capital. It was packed. It was very well attended, and it was great. And immediately after that, we received, of course, some messages that it was all prepared 1 month before, and this is all like game of some bad imperialists who want to destroy our young country, and it's all paid by some people like Soros, etc. Because Soros is now enemy in Hungary, and our prime minister is using it again. So maybe you can show the. I don't know how to do this.
On the very right, the ring. Yeah, it's the ring on the outside. Yeah.
Okay, so this was the first picture was the name of the concert, and this is like some pictures from this Sunday. And we put it to Main Square of the city because we wanted to show that it's really main thing for us.
Was it easy to get the place for this, or was there hassle with the local authorities to get the place?
To get the place, it was we did it with City of Bratislava, and I must say that they were very willing to do it now.
They're more liberal than the government.
More, but you can't say how it will be tomorrow, because they are trying to speak about it, that it's conspiracy against government, as usual in countries like ours. So the hashtag is all for Jan, and I'm sorry for that, because I think that it should be all for Martina and Jan, but Jan was the journalist, and he was I think that it's not maybe easy to say, but he was the reason why they were killed, and this was created by Ringier, because the the portal who was writing for was part of a big international company, Ringier, and they created this hashtag. So they are collecting money under this hashtag, but within our communication we always use both names, of course. And for next Sunday we are preparing new two big concerts in the cities, in the central cities of regions where they are from, both Jan and Martina. So we go to Prešov and Žilina next Sunday. So we work on it now.
Great, impressive. This is because you just said you don't know how it will be next time. You and your festival don't have. It's not the easiest thing to do. We often were talking about your festival, and you always told me you lived under a communist regime. You gained the freedom. You earned the freedom, and you know how much this is worth, and you don't take this as a given. And still for 20 years, you run
22,
Pohoda.
yeah.
22 years you run Pohoda now, and you experience that it's getting more difficult to.
Yes, but because
do it.
I think one thing is to take a stand,
Yeah.
and the second thing is to be prepared and to be willing to deal with consequences,
Yeah.
and with the responsibility. When you are part of something like Take a Stand, I think that you should be prepared also for consequences. For example, you are losing support from some visitors. Of every time we received some commentaries full of hate and full of conspiracies every time, and also before the festival and after the festival, because we do it also during the festival, and we are not reacting only on some sad things like this, but we do it all the time. You are losing money from sponsors sometimes. Some people don't want to be connected with you, and you also must be prepared to not to deal with some sponsors, because if you know that the company or the people are connected to some mafia guys or to some government mafia guys or etc., you can't work with them. It's just not you can't say something against mafia if you work with them, and this is big hypocrisy also within our government, for example. And you are like you must be prepared for some attacks. You must be prepared for all of this, and I don't know if it's good to bring here also some controversial topics, but this is, for example, what I was not sure if, but maybe I'm not sure if I have it. I'm still dealing it in my head that I have problem with Edward Snowden, that he did maybe right thing in United States, but now, from my point of view, he's giving backup to Putin's Russia, and I'm living in region when we feel very strong impact from Putin's Russia, and I think that he didn't do the second step. He was not prepared for consequences in his country. If he would do the same in Russia and escape to United States, he would be probably poisoned, probably, and he would be dying for 1 week, because the whole world should see how it is to do things like this. And that's why I, for example, very like what Pussy Riot did and do. That they did it in the society where 80% are supporting Putin. They did something, they were in prison, they were 2 years in prison, and then in Sochi they were again on the streets. They are still living in Moscow. The whole society is, not the whole, but the majority society is against them, the government is against them, and they are still in the front line of doing it in the country. Absolutely. So I'm sorry, because I admire Roskilde a lot. Roskilde are fantastic.
You want an answer?
Yeah, I think it's a fair critique, and my main one of my points before was also that we are not as a festival the best qualified to discuss this, but we have to set up a platform for others to do it, because that what we can do in a relatively free society and with a platform as big as Roskilde. So we try to give different opinions a platform to debate, and that's an important part of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Michal. Take a Stand also is for, we understand Take a Stand also as a pool of festival and as a pool of solidarity, so that there are partners in and members in Take a Stand, for example, from Turkey, from Hungary, you are in there, so that they these partners can also dive into that pool and find themselves amongst this big group of festivals, and being able to say, I'm standing with my friends from Roskilde and Lollapalooza and Open Air St. Gallen, etc., and we do this together as a European thing, so that they're not forced to take the flag and go there alone. So that's a bit of our understanding. We're coming to an end. Are there questions from somebody?
I would like to ask Ben if he's Bob Wilson, but he's not here, I think. Because I was like, but maybe not.
They went
maybe
climbing something.
No, but I because I wanted to ask it immediately after his speech, but we don't have time, and I think that we are maybe we can speak about it in person.
What did you want to ask?
I wanted to ask that how he's dealing with, because it's again, Glastonbury is one of my favorite events. Matters of when I was there in 2000 something, I felt like in paradise, and I was like, wow. And since then, Roskilde, Glastonbury, and Burning Man are for me the best. But how you deal with the fact that when you see the island of plastic in the ocean, we all speak about it, but what we see after every Glastonbury, we see island of garbage in your camping sites. How you, as a big part of Glastonbury, feel with that, and do you try to deal with that somehow?
Well, we feel terrible. Hello.
Let's swap, because you've got a table mic.
It's good to take my mic off.
Well, we feel terrible, obviously, about that. I mean, I can't say that it's. I mean, sometimes it's got better. I must say, it's weather dependent as well. But trying to get people to clear up after them is just like a nightmare. I think one of the problems is that when you see people like the tent manufacturers, Holfords and all that, producing a sort of kit of a tent, a sleeping bag, of this, a chair, of that, cheap as chips, it's kind of encouraging the churn and burn and the throwaway society. I mean, some ways it starts with that, where stuff is so disposable and so cheap that people don't value it anymore. A tent's not just for a tent should be for life, not just for one festival. So that's a huge problem that we've actually tried to address and complained about. I think it's, I'm hoping maybe it's got a little bit better, but I mean, it is terrible to see all that stuff left around. Obviously, trying to get people to not bring it in the first place is a big move as well. Particularly plastics is why I think this move to ban plastics from some of the sites is good. So at least it eliminates it from coming onto the site in the first place. But I agree, it's terrible. I mean, it's heartbreaking sometimes. And I think the only mitigation, if there is one, is particularly with Glastonbury, if you go to their recycling centre, which is incredible. I mean, they have like conveyor belts and pickers, and they actually make a really huge attempt to actually look at what they've got there and actually do something with it. But it's terrible. But I think elimination at source is probably one of the best ways, and education, obviously, with people like, just to clean up their acts. I don't know why we're so bad at it here, and in other countries they're not so bad. But it's not unique to Glastonbury, to be honest. It's just like Glastonbury is a lot longer and there's a lot more people. So you've got 200,000 people over a long period. So, I mean, but yes, clean up your act. I mean, we're saying it all the time. I think the Leave No Trace thing, which isn't unique to Glastonbury, in fact, it started, I think, with the Aboriginals as a slogan, was something that I worked very hard to introduce years ago. And I am, mortified sometimes. I think, my God, what is going on? So, yeah, clean up their act and keep pushing, but eliminate some of it at source would help a lot.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think Mikkel wanted to give a short answer. Take that one, please. And then we finish this round.
It's not to make the problem less about tents, and I think Roskilde is even worse than when Glastonbury when it comes to leftover tents. But I just want to share a small fact, that when we count all our waste, actually the average participant of Roskilde Festival produce only 60% of the waste that an average Danish person do in the same amount of time. So actually, although people leave a lot of tents, and I would guess that these are the same numbers in UK as well. So it's a society problem that we have to work with. It's just on festival the waste are very visible, and in our daily lives, it's taken away.
Thank you very much.